By the way, these are two colleagues, Panama and Colombia, and I had the distinct privilege of being with Norma in Panama City and leading a workshop of colleagues and students. And one of the students translated about 8 of the modeling scenarios that we have in Semiote into Spanish. So there are those resources that are both in Spanish and English, in addition to several others that have been translated into Spanish. But this is a talk for the rest of us. And fortunately, they are bilingual, even though I'm not. And so they're going to share in English. Thank you.
Okay, so without further ado, I'm happy to present this experience of interuniversity and international collaboration on a modeling scenario. And I'm going to be asking my colleague, Willian, to pass the slides. So we can go to the next slide, Willian.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so the framework for this joint work, William is not in Panama. I'll tell you in just a minute where he was located. I'm in Panama. I'm not in Panama City anymore. I'm in the country of Panama. But the framework for this work was something that's called COIL, which I'm only a little bit more familiar with than yourselves. If you feel that you have not encountered this before, both Willian and I are new to COIL. It stands for Collaborative Online International Learning. And it basically involves what in Panama we've called a mirror class, una clase espejo, so a mirror class. COIL started at SUNY in State Universities of New York. They were the ones who first pioneered this model, Dr. John Rubin, about 20 some odd years ago, and it's become a model. If you look up COIL, you will find that many universities have taken up this idea. And well, ours did too, my university in Panama and Williams University as well. The idea of this online international learning is that it connects in a collaborative form, is that it connects students and professors with their peers around the globe. And this is for collaborative projects and discussions as part of their coursework. It provides meaningful, significant opportunities for global and intercultural experiences to be built into the programs of study. And of course, this gives us a cost-effective way for universities to ensure that students have access to online academic mobility and international collaboration. When I heard about this opportunity, and a message was sent out to see who was interested, I said, I'm interested, and I could do it in a differential equations context. And from the partner university, William answered, and so we were joined. William, can you show us the next slide? So there it gives you an idea of where he and I are located right now. I'm in the western frontier of the country of Panama, so very close to the border with Costa Rica, about 7 hours away from Panama City by car. And the University of Santo, Tomás, Villavicencio, which is where William works, is a little bit south of the city of Bogota, capital of Colombia. And well, it's not so easy to get from one place to another. It takes a couple of flights and some road travel as well. But here we are connected and sharing this with you in other parts of the world. For me, this was an opportunity to continue to extend what I've come to know through Brian Winkle and the effort that Semiote does to bring math collaboration to differential equations in particular, with colleagues in other parts of Latin America. So not just here in Panama, but reach abroad. And to the best of my knowledge, Willian was not familiar with the Simute or its resources, so he was very interested. He's a young professor, has a whole life of teaching ahead of him. He was very excited and receptive to the idea of doing a joint project. We both had a differential equations course, his with only a few students. It was a particular situation, but he only had a few students. I had more, so basically what we did is made groups, teams, and one of his with several of mine so that we could spread them out. And they worked together on the Torricelli falling water column modeling scenario. The next, okay, so we did a joint session in order to present ourselves, introduce ourselves to each other's classes, and kind of tell them what was going to be happening. So in this joint session, I started by explaining a little bit about what all this modeling idea was about, using a sample the sample project that I had worked in the past with my own students. And then we have many wonderful resources, not just the ones that are available, like the recordings of Brian emptying a column of water with digital clock alongside, but also recordings of him interacting with my students in previous years and with me translating. So we had all those wonderful resources to share with these new groups of students. And then the next one, you can see that, well, we showed them where to go online and how to use the videos, the experimental videos to take and collect their data. And then I also showed them how to use the solver in the next slide, which is a resource available from Excel. And all of this, we showed it to them. Of course, that's very fast. The exposition was recorded, so they could go back to it. And we had the written materials also to offer them. And so that was the introduction. And then my colleague Willian took over, and I'll let him take over in the presentation as well.
Thank you so much, Teacher Norma. I'm so happy to be here. Good afternoon to everyone. My name is Willian Aristizabal. I'm a young teacher of differential equations at St. Tomás University here in Villavicencio, a city near Bogota, the capital of Colombia. And fortunately, I happen to know teacher Norma, and we were able to do this activity, an international collaboration, as she explained you before. And I started explaining the physical principle to the students in our joint session. And then I solved a sample from the textbook we use differential equation from Dennis Seal, that is our guidebook. And this was a very interesting part because we want our students to find significance in their learning. So it was a really exciting activity for they to know applications for what we're studying theoretically. So in the project, we they had to answer these questions: estimate optimal value of parameter B, explore relationship between B and whole size, sample size versus estimation of parameter B, sample location versus estimation of parameter B. They were answering these questions in their works that we are going to show you later. And we use a platform online that is called Padlet. It's kind of a wall where similar to Facebook a little bit, where they can post their pictures and they can describe or introduce themselves. And we did it as well with teacher Norma. Here is my pic and my description. Here is teacher Norma pic and their introduction. And here, this is one of my students, Luisa Peña. This was also one of my students. Nicola Rojas. This one of the students of teacher Norma in Panama. So they were able to post their pics and their introductions briefly, so they can know each other. So it was a great activity for they to know each other. And then we did the groups, as teacher Norma explained you. We did the groups in such a way that my students were with several students from her, because I had only in that course, it was not a common course, because normally I have 30 or 20,000 or at least 20 students. This time I had only 5 students, so we had to distribute them with the students of teacher Norma. This is part of the evidence of their work. Working together, they did some sessions in Teams, or I think this is in Google Meet. This meeting we're in Google Meet, and this one is in an application that we use very often here in Latin America, that is called WhatsApp. It's an application they use to communicate themselves very quickly. And they did a group for talking about the project and to do their work. And here we've got some commentaries from their students. We came to understand that understanding physical principles is very important for modeling certain kinds of phenomena. It's important to realize that modeling always involves some factors we cannot control or don't want to incorporate because they would complicate the model. In the present case, things like cross-sectional area of the column, friction at the exit orifice. That's why we need a parameter to account for these and control factors. In applying the model, we realized it was important to make sure to take initial height at a position where the water is not moving. So there are some of the commentaries of the students about their work. And we leave this space for improvement after the activity. It was at the end of the semester in our university. I don't know, Norma, it was in the middle of your period.
Yes, it was.
So we had to do it really kind of quickly. It was because we were finishing our semester in the case, but fortunately we could do it. Also, it would be better if we had more time to plan all the activity and announce the joint project at the beginning of the term. Give students time to become acquainted through preliminary activities, and make sure, of course, that their participation will be graded, and there is not only for sharing or knowing people from abroad, but it is an activity that is going to be graded as well. I don't know, teacher Norma, you have something extra to talk about?
Well, yes, no, you've said it basically all. I would just emphasize that yes, we could extend it a little more. We were kind of rushed to get it done, so we couldn't do it. But if we started, now that we know one another and we kind of have it all set up, if we start a little sooner, in my term and kind of at the middle of Professor Williams, then we could give the students several other simpler activities to do together so that they get to know one another and interact before they actually have to do the collecting of the data and the modeling, just so that it's a more significant experience for them. Nevertheless, I think we've learned a lot, and we've enjoyed it, and we've continued to have this connection because this already happened about a year ago, right? Or
yeah. And one thing extra to say is that the feedback from my students were that it was a very richful activity that they could share with those students from Panama, and they could develop some intercultural competencies and be global citizens. That's another competency they have to achieve. nowadays.
Okay, well, I think that that's basically right what we had to share with our public. So if you guys have any questions or comments, we're happy to hear them.
Well, thank you very much. It's a rich across the water experience. Any questions or comments or compliments or?
I think it was a wonderful presentation, and I had trouble with my own talk getting on, so I know your frustration at the beginning. But
Thank you.
anyway, thank you
you
for
so much.
persevering, and Brian, thank you for making this possible. It's part of the real joy of this conference is all the international connections. Thank you.
So the students then went to the video, they collected the data, right?
Yes.
And then they used Excel. Did any of them try anything else like programming or some other one, or did they pretty much use what you offered them?
Yeah, I believe these did. We had four students per group, per team.
Okay.
And since we had, the demo is with one of the whole sizes, and then there are 5 altogether. So we demo with one, and the other 4, they each did one, and then they came together to analyze the differences that they had found, and so on and so forth. My students, I'll let Professor William tell you about his, but mine were civil engineering students.
Okay.
Their second year, beginning first sophomore students. So they don't have that much of a background to go and do too many other things, right? As it was already handling all the technology and the solver was a big thing. They're all very pleased when they hear about the solver. They love that.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
they love that. Yeah. William, what about your students?
Yeah, they were of civil engineering major, and they were in fourth semester, and they went only to the part of using solver. They did not when they didn't go beyond, because they went they didn't know programming probably much, but yeah, till the solver part.
Okay, and one of the reasons that I like this model is it's a physical model, so it doesn't have too much human randomness, and the fit is remarkable. Were the students pleased with that their model was so good for the data? Did they have any sort of positive, real reactions about how good it was, or did they just take it as for granted? Or
yeah, they were.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they were surprised about the precision, of the models when they arrived to the right parameter B. Yeah, that they were amazed with that and surprised.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say, I would agree that they basically, it's like, wow, these things really work. That it's always a little bit of a surprise. I know we're kind of short of time. I don't know if you have other people wanting to ask a question, but if you don't, I would raise a question to my colleague Willian, because he and I have not met personally in real person. I would wonder how he has received this, and to his own colleagues, or how this has impacted his own vision of how he teaches his differential equation class, having had this experience.
So we're asking our Colombian friend how this experience affected your teaching beyond this one situation.
William?
Yeah. Well, it helped me to understand that we can go beyond theory, and to try to find application for what we are teaching, not only process, not only solving differential equations, but to find a situation where we can apply it. And your website is fantastic. Thank you so much for allowing me to join the website, the seminar.
Okay. Okay, we need to call this an end of a session because we have to move from South America to Central America to Australia.
Okay.
Speaking
Okay,
of bouncing
great.
around, the next speaker is going to be Mark Nelson from Australia, and I'll ask William if he'll surrender the screen share and stop the screen share so that
Okay, of course.
Mark can pick it up. It is good to meet you and to see you again, Norma.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
Take
It
care.
was a privilege and honor to me. Thank you so much.